I'll start this off by saying this was supposed to be a very different video, but between some audio issues, me being terrible at going off script, and a complete side tangent that I did not expect to go on, yeah, I think it's worth refilming. For some context, this was supposed to be a review of the pet nook with some discussion on like some of the blemishes that we've been seeing. For a TLDR of what was in the video, the pet itself is fine. Eyes are a bit misprinted, but it's not much to bother me. When I got it out of the box, it was a bit dirty, but it was actually pretty easy to wipe off with just some water. The head is really firm. This is a point that will be important later on in the video. The pet nook itself is pretty nice. Nice to see them make a return. It's a brand new mold, 2024 Hasbro on the bottom. And in terms of compatibility with some of the older ones, it's very much not there. Like, these do not click in the same way these do. You can click it on the top, but that's just about it. Mileage may vary. But the dirt on its face when I first got it, I'll put a screen grab up here so you can get a clearer view since, well, it's gone. That is what sparked me to want to continue to make this video and do the overview. I think at this point it's pretty well known that G7 has rolled out with a lot of quality control issues, be it paint job issues, cleanliness, or the infamous squish. Like, on one hand, I don't think it's the end of the world if my LPS are a little blemished, but I know for like some collectors, things like this do matter. Whether it's like having paint jobs that are clean for display purposes, having a non-squishy base for customizing purposes, or even just plain cleanliness in general. But it's been long enough into this generation that I feel like it's 100% worth criticizing and discussing. So this video is going to be talking about some of my own observations in terms of G7 blemishes within my own collection, or at least the most notable examples that I have. I think a good place to start off is by Billy and Lions. I don't know why I kept getting these, but I have custom plans for like 2 of them now, so it doesn't bother me. In terms of squishiness, they're relatively the same, though I'd like to bring more attention to the ear paint because there's a bit of inconsistency there. These two are fine, but this one has a bit of a smudge going down there. I do think it is technically on the lesser side and is very easy to touch up if I wanted to, even though I'm going to use this for a custom. But I'll also bring up, this is a blemish that I saw earlier on in the wave. I'm not exactly sure when I got this one, I just know it was the first half of 2024. But overall, I think this one is still okay. Oh, there's a little bit of a paint error on the nose. Like, again, it is not as big as some of the other ones I'll show off, but at the same time, good to keep note. The second one that I want to bring up that has the most paint variations is the fish. I actually rebought this set because I wanted to use the wolf for like a few custom projects. Even though like the fish wasn't the main reason I wanted to rebuy it, it was kind of nice to get this one, which is the newer one. I can tell because I specifically checked the paint jobs to make sure that the fins are neater. If this footage is too blurry, because of course this camera has trouble focusing, I'll just snip in like some snippets from the original recordings. But this one, the paint job is completely off, like not on the fin at all. And even on the one that I got specifically because it looked neater, there is a little bit off, but it's in a degree where I feel like I don't want to constantly rebuy this fish just so I can have the perfect one. So offset printing, I'm just gonna have to live with it. Though this one is definitely giving a little bit of fakey vibes, at least in my opinion, due to just how offset that color is, like bleeding onto the other patterns. In terms of squishiness, this one is a bit firmer. Like, I've had it for at least a month at this point. This one is squishy, though I will note, like other people have observed, having it sit out for a while does firm it up, and I think that did kind of happen with this one because it's kind of like the regular G7 squish. I can't believe that's a term I can say. I'll get to the wolves next because that one's a pretty big one. But for the donkey, I've actually had pretty good luck when it comes to quality with the Wave 2 blind boxes. But the donkey, even though I still love this one and I plan on keeping it as is unless I get a duplicate, there is paint errors on the main. Again, if it's too blurry, I'll insert another clip. There is a bit of paint that's been smudged off and missing. It's only on this side of it, though I guess to be fair, at least it's not on the cutie mark side, so display side is alright. But you know, it is mildly sad to see that like one of the pets that I was genuinely the most excited for in this wave, I still got a little bit of an error. I might be able to touch this up, I'm not sure, but still. And now we get to the wolves. There is a little bit of paint variation between these, but I think it's kind of a given because they are airbrushed. I did intentionally pick this one out because I thought it had the better paint job compared to this one, which it has a little bit of smudge in its ear. But I will tell you this is the worst one in my collection. I genuinely did not find this out until mid-filming the old version of this video. But for reference, this one I had for roughly a month. It's squishy, but it's not completely like squished down. This one I just got. Reminder, hard as a rock. This one, I kid you not, I was in tears laughing about how squishy this guy was yesterday because I did not expect it to be this squishy. I did not squish down on it that much for when I got it, and I had it sitting out for a while, which usually that tends to firm up squishy pets a bit. And the fact that I found that out by pure accident because I just mindlessly squished it in the middle of making the video is, I don't know. Still. Oh! I did not know how squishy this is. And I could do that. I did not expect to be able to do the flattening thing. I did not expect to bring this up because again, I didn't know this was a thing until like last night, but I will note that this level of squishiness has been observed in Wave 2s for a while. Like the Sheltie mold is the most infamous example of this, though I did not expect to find this in a pet that I've had for like a few weeks now, I think, sitting out, and is a Wave 1. Like I said earlier, I rebought this pet for customizing, though admittedly this does have me concerned. And I know I'm not the only one because like I think Cobalt was the one who posted an Instagram story with a very similar takeaway to mine. But now I'm not sure which one I want to use as a base, because on one hand, the custom I'm thinking of using the head for, it requires a bunch of sculpting, and I don't feel comfortable adding a bunch of it on a base this squishy where like if I accidentally press down on it too hard, boom, everything's gonna shatter, the paint and all the sculpting that I tried doing on it. But at the same time, I feel like this is still the more higher quality feeling one in my collection, and I would like to have like something with a firmer head without having to rebuy 500 wolves. So which one of these gets customized? I don't know, I'll think about it later. Like I said in the beginning, it's not the end of the world and I'm still very much happy to be collecting G7's, but when this problem has gone on for so long and has given us this level of quality control, even for like later releases of Wave 1 pets, I think it is worth bringing up because this is a type of blemish we see earlier on in 2024. And this is the type of error that we see later on. I should probably stop doing this, but it's funny. Okay, it's funny, okay? But it does have me concerned about the quality of Little's Pet Shop going forward. I do hope that because it's being brought up so much across the community from both bigger and smaller collectors, that maybe Basic Fun will put a little more effort into quality control in the following waves after Wave 2. But at this point, it is pretty much a wait and see, and I think it's good to be documenting these when it comes up. But if you made it to the end of this video, let me know your experiences with quality control inconsistencies. Like, have you run into like dirty pets? Especially if you got the squish. But at this point, I feel like I bullied this guy enough. I don't have LPS socials as making this video, so it's best to subscribe and hit the bell if you want to keep up with me. But this is Nat. I'm just gonna hope that it's gonna get better in Wave 3.